So 5G and coffee improving emergency response with next-gen connectivity. That's the introductions. We got Sam Miller here, public sector account manager. What's your coverage area?
So I've got a pretty broad territory right now. I span from the northern central states of Wisconsin and Michigan, from the border of Canada down to diagonally southwest or southeast down to Florida. So every state in between, um, cutting across Indiana, Illinois, um, Ohio, West Virginia, Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, Kentucky, Mississippi, Georgia, and Florida.
Dang.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Puerto Rico.
Oh, there you go. That's awesome.
Yep.
So I'm Mark Indelicato. I'm the marketing manager. We were also supposed to have Jacob Perry with us. He unfortunately had to take over something else last minute. So hopefully we'll get it done for you guys.
Yeah.
But let's get started here. 5G networks overview. So let's look at the current state of 5G today. What are we looking at here, Sam?
So we're looking at a very simple breakdown. One way I like to describe a breakdown like this is it's called Barney style. And it's super simple to just look at and say, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So you can show this to anybody, and a customer or a teammate or anyone in our industry or not in our industry, to give a simple breakdown of what 5G looks like from a spectrum standpoint. Literal physical frequencies in the air that look just like that. If you could see all the radio frequencies in the air today, you would not be able to see your hand in front of your face, which is crazy to think about. But anyway, 5G is a very broad spectrum, starting at the lowest point of 600 megahertz. That is the low band frequency, and the range is 600 to 900 megahertz, right? That frequency is strong, it's slower, it carries a huge load, and it moves up into that mid band, which is it goes over 1,000 megahertz, which is a gigahertz. Now we're at 2.5 gigahertz to 6 gigahertz, and that is your mid band frequency. That is your broad spectrum that you can see. It's got that lower bandwidth frequency like that, and then it gets real tight much faster up into the next point of its hertz, where your high band is 25 to 39 gigahertz. That is wild. That frequency is so fast. It's almost as fast as it would look like a straight physical line that you can see towards that end of the 39 gigahertz. Passing that capacity, I wouldn't even know what that would look like, but it's coming, I'm sure.
Yeah, so one thing just to note and kind of summarize here, when you look at low band, so that's more penetrating, but kind of, I don't even want to say slower speeds, because it's kind of comparable with LTE plus, I guess, LTE a little bit faster there, but it can go a long distance, it can go through buildings, no issues there. Mid band is kind of, well, actually, you know what, let's talk about high band. So you can see as those waves get closer together, it's harder for it to penetrate through buildings. Maybe cars, things that are going to obstruct that signal. But those are those blazing fast speeds where you see people downloading movies in seconds or whatever. So midband is kind of the best of both worlds there. You get the speed, some of the speeds that you get with high band, or you start moving in that direction, I guess. But you also get the penetration that you get with low band. So I know there's different implementations for the different bands, but a lot of what we're seeing is kind of low to mid band with some high band here and there. Anything else to add on to this before we?
Yeah, I think what you stated was great about the penetration, for instance, for low band. Like I had mentioned, it's much stronger. The frequency can penetrate buildings through building surfaces and materials that even a normal LTE frequency may or may not be able to penetrate, and so that carries a lot of weight. And we were comparing that to LTE Plus or LTE Advanced. You look at those speeds that can range within that frequency. We're looking at what, 30 to 250 megabits per second. That is a lot, guys and gals. That's a lot. Yeah. We're looking at that now. People are paying multi-hundreds of dollars a month for fiber circuits that can get that much bandwidth, that much throughput. So we're looking at a low band frequency over the air wirelessly, providing that same throughput.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, let's take a look at some of these definitions because I know we've been throwing a lot of words around.
Yeah.
And I know there's some industry people on here, so apologies. I know you guys know all this already, but for those who don't, we just wanted to kind of cover this real quick. But capacity, it's the number of clients, users, devices that can concurrently connect to a tower. Basically, the number, just I like to think of it as, if you're at the mall on a busy Saturday, your LTE might be almost non-existent. There's so many people around. Whereas 5G is a lot has a much greater capacity, so you don't run into that issue.
Yeah, I like to think of it like a Wi-Fi network almost. You think of a Wi-Fi network in your house, and you can only have like maybe 10 to 15 users log on before you start to see any sort of bandwidth being spread too far or too thin, so to speak. You look at the capacity of a 5G, say a single tower over a mall, like he had used as an example. You look at a 5G, it's almost like a Wi-Fi network in the sense of capacity, except it's 10,000 times the capacity of what your normal network, your network availability is for client users.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at bandwidth, how much data can be sent and received through a cellular connection. Just, sending movies or huge files in a couple seconds, essentially.
Yep. That's a pretty simple one right there.
Yep. Latency, the amount of time it takes for data to send and receive. Have a good example on this one?
Well, I mean, latency is basically what your lag time is going to look like, right? For data transmission, for the sending and the reception of that data and information that's being sent over the air. So your lag time is whether it's going to be more or less.
And then multi-access edge computing, or MEC for short. So bringing the complete process, data analysis or crunch process closer to the end user or application and away from the often distant cloud. So we were talking about that this morning.
I think that the statement brings it in very well. The multi-access edge, I mean, edge computing is going to be what 5G is really going to be compounding upon, from start to finish. And really, we say the edge is what we would think would be the finish, but really it's going to be the beginning. It's going to be the start. So.
Yep. Essentially, your data doesn't have to travel as far to compute whatever you're pulling. All right. So with that, let's look at some new 5G applications, which are the exciting bit, I think.
Yeah. This is a crazy picture.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah.
No, this is cool. I really like this. Real-time 4K to 8K video access, integration, facial recognition, biometrics, weapon detection software. All this is awesome stuff. All this technology exists today, and people have been trying to paint it over wireless networks right now and 4G LTE networks, and it hasn't been working to its full potential. But now that we have 5G, I know it is scary, David. But now that we have 5G, available today, this kind of equipment and this software is now able to be used to its full potential. Because you got equipment like this right now, the government, Big Brother upstairs, they've got, satellite connectivity that we don't even have access to as the greater public, the general public.
Yeah.
We don't have access to that. And that's the kind of equipment that they've been using for years now. Well, now police departments, sheriff's departments, are going to be able to have access to this kind of capability in the coming years, if not today. They have access to it today, but in the coming years, things like this will be, a priority to implement throughout cities, to keep people safe, to keep American citizens safe.
Yep.
The weapon detection software, I have firsthand experience with that stuff. That's really, really important, a really important product to have. Really, it is for a police agent, for a public safety agency in big cities and small cities. Especially in this day and age when weapon safety and things like that are becoming a much greater concern. We've got detection software that could, possibly save tens, hundreds of lives, maybe thousands. This is big stuff. Being able to connect to that with 5G and not have to worry about latency or worry about a lag in the internet or worry about a lag in the connection. You've got that working to its full potential right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting too to see what you can pair with it as well, right? So especially over 5G, you can have lots of devices connected. So weapon detection software, maybe a weapon's detected at a mall or something, for example, or maybe outside of a mall if someone's coming in. So that triggers, just real time, close the doors and lock them, right? Just things chaining on each other, based on software. I don't know. I think it's a pretty interesting concept for sure.
It is. And you think about, like I said, this day and age, implementing software like this and having the capabilities of 5G in school systems, in school districts throughout America, is going to be able to keep so many people safe and so many students and teachers safe with this kind of technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what's next. AR integration with SWAT helmets.
Hey, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is cool. A long time ago, my father was a SWAT team captain in the Knox County Sheriff's Department, which is in Knox County, Tennessee, here where we're at, headquarters in Knoxville. It's the county seat is Knoxville city of. This is really cool. I know augmented reality is kind of a thing. What you're looking at here is a heads-up display. I mean, I know video games and things like that, computer games have a heads-up display. Well, 5G is going to be able to give organizations and agencies the ability to have a real heads-up display, which requires incredible amounts of data to be passed at any given second, right? To be able to give, a map geolocation, or even down to how many bullets you have left in a magazine during, a hostage situation, or what are your coordinates on a compass, and what the degree are you pointing right now, due north, or whatever that would look like for you in that helmet, or that technology that they've integrated into that. That's really cool.
Yeah, I've got a cool example actually. Maybe, gosh, it's got to be getting close to maybe half a year ago now. I remember we did a case study about a company that does they do it for firefighters, and they use drones with LiDAR to scan over top of houses and get like the layout, and then they'll patch that into their face masks essentially. So you have like the layout. So if visibility is constructed, you're still getting that projection of the house layout, so you know which way to go, and then also it would show which rooms were cleared by firefighters as they went through the house. It was crazy.
That's really
very cool
technology.
I know it. See, this is the exciting stuff that I like marketing.
It is exciting. It is exciting.
Oh, 1, 2 there. All right. Smart city safety response. There we go.
This one's awesome.
Yeah.
I've actually personally worked on quite a few projects where cities have implemented 5G hotspots throughout their city that can connect, that do connect IP-based cameras that have gunshot detection software. These surveillance cameras have facial recognition. They run your face through a database, right, and pull up people, and scan people's faces to see who's got outstanding warrants and things like that. But a gunshot detection software integration is next level.
Yeah.
You'll see these implemented throughout school systems. You'll see them implemented in large public areas and squares inside of cities and things like that. Gunshot detection software requires quite an immense amount of data to be accurate and to work correctly with the notification systems that are set up and the extremely sensitive meters that they have. It's quite incredible.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, how you can kind of chain things together. So when you're talking smart city, I mean, that's effectively what you're doing. Like here, surveillance cameras plus the sensor can detect gunshot, and then maybe from there, goes out to the police station. Maybe cameras can identify the person who has, the gun or the gunshot, and then can kind of track them down streets, and then kind of giving all that information, in HD 4K. Straight to mission control, just live.
Yeah, those are 3 critical pieces of technology being integrated into one because of 5G.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Very cool. Let's see. All right, so safer 5G field operations. Let's take a look at some of these. We got a quote here. As more departments adopt gigabit class LTE and 5G begins rolling out to more cities, the job of a police officer is set to evolve. By allowing technology to face the most dangerous parts of the job, police officers and their communities will be better protected. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Safer 5G field operations, accurate and timely dispatch.
All right. So this is good. It says that quicker response and backup is possible with 5G's reduced latency. That's 100% correct. The time that it'll take for this data to go back to dispatch, right? You've got an officer in the field or a deputy in the field on a routine a routine traffic stop, and he has got his camera on the front dash. It's already scanned the license plate and sent that number back without him even having to call it in and wait for a response. Yeah. It sent that number back to dispatch, and they've already sent to his MDT, his mobile data terminal, or his handheld, where you can look and see, okay, this vehicle belongs to so and so and so and so, and he's going to move forward and be able to step out of the vehicle and walk right to the car to address the concerns and address the issue, and take that license and registration, go back to his car safely, and know that that person, within half the time, he'll know that that person isn't a wanted felon or anything like that for any sort of violent crimes or anything crazy like that. And if so, he'll know twice as fast as he would have than if it was a different solution that he had on board, or the lack of solution he could have on board, he couldn't have on board. A lot of times, even today, there's departments that are still using radio communications, RF and VHF communications, where they're just waiting on dispatch to get back with them after a keyboard search in dispatch, and they're just waiting for them to get back with the information on that license plate for those, routine traffic stops that could always end in a disaster or a simple, hey, see you later, thanks for stopping. So,
absolutely. Yeah, it's not just latency either, I wouldn't think. Edge computing, so kind of like your example with running plates. So if that's a huge database that takes, a good time for those numbers to crunch if you perform a search, if that information is stored a lot closer to you, in some of those edge locations, it's just going to move faster, plus the latency. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a compounding effect is what 5G is going to do.
Yeah.
Improved critical emergency communication.
I love this one. So we talk about congestion and competition. Competition is representing what it would look like for so many users at one given time trying to connect to a tower or trying to utilize a signal to connect and communicate. Well, 5G, we were talking about bandwidth earlier, and bandwidth for 5G bandwidth is, I want to safely say, tenfold that. True 5G bandwidth is going to be and is tenfold that of an LTE advanced network. Mm-hmm. So down the street, we've got Neyland Stadium, 119,000 seats.
Yep.
Sell out almost every Saturday for a home game. That's a lot of devices trying to communicate over the air. You go in there most times and you try to text your mom and send her a picture from the 50-yard line. Hey, Mom, look at Hendon Hooker. He just threw a touchdown, and she won't get that message until you leave the game later that night. Mm-hmm. So 5G is going to stop that. 5G prevents that. Now its bandwidth is, tenfold of what you just suffered, that message not going out or being able to call. So officers and security organizations that stand security at large events like that are going to now have the capability to not even worry about signals being sent out and messages being sent and calls being sent out and information being passed into their equipment, like their body cameras, their vehicles that are posted right outside of a stadium or a large event venue. That they won't have to worry.
Yeah,
they won't have to worry at all about losing signal and not having any at all.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting too. We were talking about the different bands before for things like large events, sporting events, town square, that sort of thing. A lot of carriers are looking at specific infrastructure for those areas, right? So we were talking, it's harder to get those smaller bandwidths to pass through things. So it's not as attractive necessarily sometimes for carriers to put in. But for places like this, it makes a ton of sense. If you're going to do installations of infrastructure, it's going to be places like this. So you'll be seeing some really good speeds and everything else that comes with 5G in these places.
And I see we've got a comment from David in the chat. He just mentioned that imagine the edge database updating as cars move through an area being spotted by traffic cameras and all other car cameras. That's an awesome point. I'm actually been working on a project with some of your teammates up in the greater Chicago area on a project that consists of vehicle cameras. Not vehicle cameras, license plate reader capable cameras that are posted in fixed locations throughout a specific campus that's in the inner city of Chicago, almost central of the city. And that, you think about that data that's consistently being updated per second. There's hundreds, tens of thousands of cars driving by it at any given second throughout the day. That database is going to be processing through 5G that data that is consistently being passed at one given second. It's incredible to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, we'll jump on to the next one here. Real-time data and support automation gains.
So this is cool. The real-time data piece, we all know that LTE has sort of a GPS capability, right? But based upon tower locations and pings and all that awesome stuff. And we focus on human response possible with MEC and 5G. So like kind of what we just alluded to a second ago with your comment, David, the ability to have real-time connection with, say, a wireless router, a 5G router that's in the field, providing that live data, that live real-time video, like a video feed of, say, a police officer, for instance, with a body-worn camera. That device is directly communicating with that 5G router that's directly communicating with the tower. And that data, that real-time support is going to continuously get better and better and better. And with a 5G implementation already, it's 5 times better than what it would have been with 4G.
Absolutely. Yeah. Not much more I can add to that. It's just, like you said, we've kind of already touched on this a little bit here and there, but it's exciting stuff, and it's all so interconnected too. It's hard to talk about one thing without talking about another.
Yeah.
What can you do today? So let's take a look at some of this. Well, the pop-up network kits, one of our favorite ways to talk about this.
All right, so you all see it. This is RCN's P&K, or the pop-up network kit. It's exactly what it looks like. This device is rugged. It's fully portable. It's an all-in-one solution, which means that it contains a 5G endpoint. It contains a high gain enterprise grade antenna, rugged and durable, that provides the gain, the cellular gain, the 5G gain, provides that to the router, and it also provides a displacement of Wi-Fi, whether it be Wi-Fi 2.4, 5, or Wi-Fi 6, which is now the future, right? So with Wi-Fi 6 being adopted and implemented into these devices, these antennas being a part of that all-in-one solution provide that as a Wi-Fi network. So you're looking at, really, this kit is going to be able to provide a bubble of a wireless signal that a large amount of clients are going to be able to connect to securely in a moment's notice. It's portable. You can throw it out of the back of a truck, turn it on, and connect anyone who's in that site or on site. From a public safety standpoint, there's a house burned down, four different agencies have to interoperate at some point, right? So a commander or a lieutenant pulls that out of his trunk, turns it on, everybody can connect and not have to worry about losing connectivity or anything of that sort.
Yeah, and these are mildly customizable, I'll say, as well. So we have different hardware in there, just based on what our customers need. This one specifically that's pictured here has the R1900 from Cradlepoint, and that can support around 100 plus devices.
Yeah.
So
concurrently. Yeah, it's a pretty awesome device in there currently in that picture. And there's many other awesome devices from many other manufacturers out there that are getting some skin in the game with 5G routers. And this solution right here is great to implement any of those.
Yeah, absolutely. So back to 5G. When is 5G coming? So like I said, low and mid bands are available today. All the carriers have kind of their own priorities and strategies, essentially, of how they're coming out. High band rollout is in process. Again, that's kind of what we were saying. Some of the specific like sports stadiums, things like that, are kind of getting the first treatment. But it's just going to take a little bit on the infrastructure for that, whereas the infrastructure is going to be a little easier for the low and mid bands. But,
yeah, that's pretty much all to add for that one.
Yep. Let's see. So learning more about 5G. So here's a couple different places for you. We've got our RCN webinars. live in-depth information. We'll have the Q&A. Obviously, you're here, so great first step on that. RCN news and articles. So on our website, we post a ton of news, blogs, success stories, case studies, all of those sorts of things. So if you're, one of our partners, you're going to find something applicable for what you're looking for. And if you're, a potential customer, you'll find something that you're looking for, hopefully. And then lastly, our social feeds. So a lot of times it'll link to things like the webinar or like some of our blogs, but it's a great way to keep in touch with us and see what's going on, especially in the industry. So let's see, we can help. Yeah, you want to talk about, we're obviously an elite partner with Cradlepoint, but what it is that RCN does?
Yeah, so we are a 5G and LTE enablement specialist company, which means that everyone in our company, from engineer to even marketing manager, we know about 5G and LTE, and we are a specialist in that field and in our industry. And so we specialize in 5G and LTE network solutions that enable our customers to connect better because we provide the right solution every time. And that's our trademark. We provide the right solution every time. We don't want to sling something that might just work. We want to provide something that will work. We want to provide a solution to a problem. They're not called solutions just because it's stuff. They're called solutions because that definition of that in the dictionary literally means to solve a problem.
Yep, absolutely. Couldn't have put it any better myself. All right, so we were talking about the 5G consultation. We've got our Director of Sales, Reed Perryman's contact information here if you want to reach out to him. Again, these slides are going to be available after the show as well. They'll get sent out to you. But you could email publicsector@rcntechnologies.com. Let's see, or you can go to rcntechnologies.com/emergency response. This is a new feature that we have in our software. Let me see, I'm going to pop this up here. See if it, there we go. Awesome. So you can click that. It's going to open a new tab for you. So it's going to take you straight there. You can fill out a form, request that free demo, request that evaluation, download the notes. If you want to say hi, you can do it there as well. So, reach out to us like that. All right, I think that brings us, to Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat here. We've kind of been answering things as we've gone along, but if you have anything else that we haven't kind of covered yet, let us know. But while you're doing that, I have a few things prepared. Sam, what can you tell our audience here about what RCN does as far as managed services for 5G?
As far as managed services for 5G? Well, RCN contains what's called a NOC, or a Network Operations Center, which really kind of, it brings together all of the requirements to help maintain, to help run alongside of, or primarily be in charge of a customer or end user's network from a local standpoint. It also consists of, new age technology coming in and us being advisors. Our Network Operations Center contains, our 5G and LTE specialists, right, running the show, and our engineers and our support staff and our operations staff, helping the end user, helping the customer look to what's next, or look to what's best, or look to the right solution every time, but also help find problems. We also help find problems in that management arm, in that NOC, where we'll work with our customers and say, hey, this is an issue. This is a huge issue in a lot of verticals and a lot of market sectors that you might not have experienced yet, but may because of the lack of this or the lack of that. So here's a recommendation that we can provide to you that, let's talk about.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had a, thank you for that, sorry. We had another question pop in here. Is that 5G in a box? What are the backhaul options with that? Does it support IAB?
Great question. So that is technically 5G in a box. The box contains a wireless router that connects directly to 5G frequencies, right? And so the technology right now that is intermittently growing is backwards compatible to 4G. And so the backhaul for that is the 5G network provider, is the 4G LTE advanced network provider. which is the tower infrastructure throughout the United States,
Yep.
right? That you're going to connect to with any sort of wireless piece of technology. The support of the IAB. Now that is a great acronym. I don't know what it means right off the bat.
I don't either.
If you could throw in what that acronym means in the chat.
Yeah, and for those of you who weren't here at the beginning, we're supposed to also have our what is his title, Jacob?
Jacob, he is our. Wow, why are we?
Yeah,
why do we
I'm
not know our
completely
engineer's
blanking.
title?
I know it. Yeah,
He's our
sales engineer.
Sales engineer.
There we go. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
Sales engineer.
All right, integrated access backhaul.
Integrated access backhaul. That is a great question. So, from a technical standpoint, I don't have an exact answer for that. I don't, but I'd love to find out offline.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you want to reach out, using that link, we'd be more than happy to answer it. I mean, we'll have you an answer probably within an hour of you emailing us. So just shoot us this in a question, and we'll definitely get back with you.
That's definitely a question that our engineer would be able to answer.
Yep, that's perfect. Leave your email in there. We got you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, so I haven't seen anything else pop up. I had one more that was an interesting one. Is 5G going to cut wireline services out of small business and enterprise?
Wow, that's a great question. My answer is yes.
Yeah.
5G is going to be the way of the future for businesses, the government, local governments, state governments, the education industry from grade school, K through 12, to higher education universities and institutions across the United States and even the world.
Yep.
5G is going to become the primary provider of internet service, connectivity service to almost everyone that it makes sense for. I would say 7 out of 10 businesses, enterprises, organizations, agencies, institutions are going to be on a wireless connectivity plan of some sort in the near future.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're already seeing a pretty big push for it. Pretty quickly. Let's see, we got one more question.
Oh, this is
here.
a good one.
Yeah,
David.
Oh, go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, David, great question. Anyone doing 5G private networks? What are the back-end solutions in play? Cloud RAN, Open RAN. Has RCN looked into providing a RAN network in a box? Now, that is an awesome question, a group of questions. I'll start with the first one. Is anyone doing 5G private networks? The answer to that is yes. Yes, they are. They are taking advantage of frequencies at a private level. Absolutely. The back-end solutions in play are what is existing infrastructure, provided by your big boys at play out there with like the Sony, or not Sony, but excuse me, Ericsson's out there. They're integrating an infrastructure change and upgrade as we speak for private 5G. There's existing private 5G provided through some of the equipment, right? The solutions at play. Currently, I know some of the top manufacturers out there that provide wireless technology also provide equipment that is compatible with private 5G. It all comes down to a private 5G to a SIM card, honestly. Cloud RAN and Open RAN. So good. That's a good question to ask. Cloud RAN, I know for sure, 100%. Given the technology being utilized, a lot of it, 9 out of 10 times, is going to be cloud-based. As RCN looked into providing RAN network in a box. So when we look at RAN network in a box, when you say RAN, would you mean like the private LTE in a box, David? If you could, yeah. So the answer is yes, because those solutions exist, the equipment exists. We're able to integrate that into our P&K, our pop-up network kit, and provide that. Say, a good example, and this is off the cusp right now, a good example would be for a police department in a large city. We can say Chicago Police, right? Chicago Police Department. They've got a huge city, huge populace, an even larger amount of connected devices via LTE and wireless and 5G. If they were to implement their own private network to utilize 5G frequencies, their own 5G private network, one of the top solutions I would recommend would be for our pop-up network kit, a private 5G pop-up network kit. so that the only way that that device is going to work is if it connects to their cut of bandwidth provided that no one else has access to, period. That's not priority preemption. That's private. So that we do provide that, absolutely.
Yeah, and once you have the network set up, connecting to it's that's not the necessarily challenge, right? That's the easier side of it.
Right, that's the easier side.
So awesome. Sorry, my computer decided to switch screens there. Awesome. Okay. Too many possibilities. How do you maintain focus?
That's a great question, David. That's a great question as well. Maintaining focus. Me personally, as a sales rep here at RCN, maintaining focus is probably one of our least challenging things to maintain because earlier, I stated that we are 5G and LTE specialists. In order to be a specialist, you've got to maintain focus. Like you can look back at Leonardo da Vinci. That dude had a lot of things wrong with him mentally and physically. But you know what? He was a very focused individual because he was able to focus on everything he did. Things that are still in use today that changed the course of history from his time to now.
Absolutely.
And I know I just compared our sales and engineering staff to Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah. But listen, we're specialists. We're focused, and we take pride in that. And me personally, I take pride in the fact that I can stay focused in helping our customers find the best solution every time with 5G.
Yeah. And thank you for the compliment, Howard. Very well focused team. Looking back a little bit, I see. I don't want to try and pronounce her name because I know I'm going to get it wrong. Sriram. Oh, that makes so much sense. Yeah. The box currently does not provide standalone private 5G. It can connect to an existing network easily.
Yeah, it connects to pre-existing infrastructure. So if there is something, say, products provided by the manufacturers that are helping install the infrastructure nationwide or in just small focused areas, not small, but you know what I mean, cities, larger cities, where private 5G is going to be something that the city themselves are going to be able to take advantage of and utilize. That's the beginning of the project. And that starts with us as well, because that's just part of the project, is bringing in who is going to be able to provide that infrastructure from the start, how we're going to provide that solution through the middle, and then how it's going to connect and communicate at the end.
Yeah, and I will say, it's not that it's impossible either. I mean, there's room in the box to theoretically do that. We just need to.
There's always room. There's always room.
Right. We just need to find the right technology, and again, like he was mentioning earlier, the right solution every time. That really is very important to us. So we have a pretty thorough vetting process whenever we start to recommend new hardware. So it's just, honestly, it's probably just a matter of time, I would imagine.
Yeah. Thank you to all who have joined and spent time with us, hanging out for our 5G and coffee. It's been great. There's going to be many more. So feel free to jump on whenever the next one comes around, or whenever you guys feel like you want to just hang out with us and listen to us, run our gums about 5G and the future of technology.
Yeah, we'll just nerd out about how excited we are with it, if that's not what we did today. But thank you guys so much. Really appreciate your time today. And with that, we'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.